Joshua Zirkzee and Manuel Ugarte pick Manchester United as their next club. Talks now ongoing with Bayern Munich over Matthijs de Ligt transfer, plus all of your latest transfer news and talk. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this morning's live show. But before we get into that, please smash a like on today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Only 50% of people who watch these streams are subscribed. So if you are a first-time watcher here today, please do get involved. The content is completely free. Hit the subscribe button for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Right, you can probably see I'm in a different location today, so I apologize if the audio and the visuals is a little bit, not up to the usual quality, but I am on holiday, but I still wanted to bring you guys all of the latest news. So let's start off with Manuel Ugarte then, shall we? So this is coming out from a very reliable source in the UK. And it says that Manchester United apparently see Manuel Ugarte as an ideal replacement for Casemiro, who is apparently set to leave the club this summer and move to Saudi Arabia. Now, I agree with that completely. 23 years of age, incredible central defensive midfielder, doing a great job for Uruguay over at Copa America at the moment. Obviously, his move to PSG has not been the most fruitful, but I think that's just an unfortunate set of circumstances for him. He went there as one of the most exciting young central defensive midfielders in world football. But due to the emergence of Warren Zaire-Emery, the 18-year-old PSG sensation, he hasn't really had the opportunities that he maybe would have hoped. And that's obviously why Manchester United are now hot on his press for his signature. But yeah, I think if we could let Casemiro go to Saudi, apparently Man United are asking for about 50 million euros, which is about 40 million pounds. And then we went and signed Manuel Ugarte as a replacement. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. We've gone from somebody who's 32 years of age, looks like his legs have gone a little bit, to somebody who's 23 at the beginning of his career. And yeah, would fit perfectly in the mould of what we need. Imagine a midfield three of Bruno Fernandes, Manuel Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo. It would be absolutely sensational. So I think this deal will happen personally. I think it's one, obviously, we need to keep an eye on. I will keep bringing you the news as and when we get it. But the story then goes on to say that apparently Manuel Ugarte has picked Manchester United as his next club. He wants the move. He's excited about the project. He's not bothered by the fact that we're not going to be in the Champions League because he has been reassured by Manchester United that he would be a first-team starting player. Whereas at PSG, he's not that. He's a squad rotation player. He only played about 20 games last season for PSG. Whereas coming into Manchester United, he's going to start pretty much every single game, especially if Casemiro goes, because he'll be our only specialist central defensive midfielder. So really excited about this deal. I do think it will happen. He's only on about £100,000 a week as well, which I know is another question I keep getting asked. £100,000 a week wages. The transfer fee apparently going to be around somewhere between 30 to 40 million pounds. No issues with it whatsoever. I imagine it will probably be 30 million plus maybe 10 to 20 million euros in add-on. So this deal will happen. It's just a case of when, not if. There are other clubs interested, though, so we do have to act quickly. You've got Liverpool, who are apparently interested, Chelsea, who are apparently interested, as well as a couple of other clubs as well. So it's one to keep an eye on, and obviously I will keep you updated on the Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United story throughout my streams over the next couple of weeks and months. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and smash a like on today's show, that would be very much appreciated. Let's try and see 200 likes on this morning's show. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. We're now only one subscriber away from 24,600. So let's see if we can hit that by the end of today's video, and then we can move on to the next milestone. Okay, moving over to Joshua Zirkzee, another player who I know a lot of you really, really want to see at Manchester United. Another UK journalist this morning is saying that Joshua Zirkzee is very keen on joining Manchester United. He has already spoken personally to Erik ten Hag. So another player who actually wants to move. I know there was a story last week saying that apparently he favoured a move to AC Milan. Well, AC Milan are out of the race now. So whether or not he preferred to stay in Italy and go to AC Milan is kind of irrelevant now because AC Milan aren't trying to sign him. They weren't happy with the agent commission. The story also says that apparently Manchester United have been in talks with Bologna over the last couple of days over about how to structure the release clause. The release clause is £33.8 million and it becomes valid from tomorrow, which is July the 1st. So Manchester United need to act quickly on this deal if they're going to get it done. because there will be other clubs who are circling for his signature. Obviously, AC Milan was the kind of the biggest name who were after them. AC Milan had apparently agreed to pay the release clause, but they weren't willing to pay the agent commission, which was reportedly about £12 million. My understanding is that apparently Joshua Zirkzee's agent was willing to reduce that agent commission when selling to Manchester United, because apparently he has a good relationship with the club. He has a good relationship with Jim Ratcliffe. So I'm not sure exactly how much we'll end up paying in agent commission, but I imagine it'll be somewhere between £6 and £8 million, which is still a lot of money. But if you think we're getting a 23-year-old striker for only £33.8 million, who did very, very well in Serie A last season, I've got no issues with it whatsoever. And then we've got another story this morning saying that apparently Erik ten Hag is desperate to sign Joshua Zirkzee. He thinks he's an absolute perfect fit for what he needs. And the one thing you really need to focus on here is he's a very different profile player to Rasmus Højlund. You watch Joshua Zirkzee, he's very, very good at hold-up play. He's very good with his feet as well. He's quite skillful, whereas Højlund isn't as good with his feet, I don't think. They're very different profiles. Go and watch both of them, a game of both of them, and you will see they will really, really complement each other. And I don't actually think that, that they'll be, obviously they're direct competition, but I think they'll give us different options in different games, which is something we haven't had for a while. He's probably more similar to an Anthony Martial type player. Forget about, Martial being injured all the time. Just focus on when Martial was at his best, running at players, skillful. That's kind of what Joshua Zirkzee's like, whereas Rasmus Højlund's a little bit more, a bit more of a brute, I think. But the thing which is interesting about Joshua Zirkzee is that he is still very, very young. He does still have, a lot of years left. The same with Rasmus Højlund. He's only 23 years of age. And I believe he's 6'4" as well. So he's a big striker, but he's very skillful, which is quite rare for a striker of that height. The next story I've got for you this morning is about Matthijs de Ligt. So the news this morning is that, and this came from Florian Plettenberg, Fabrizio Romano, all of the top journalists in world football are reporting this story, that apparently Manchester United are now in talks with Bayern Munich over the signing of Matthijs de Ligt. Erik ten Hag has apparently already spoken to Matthijs de Ligt himself. He wants the move. He's apparently going to be the fifth choice centre-back at Bayern Munich next season, which is pretty crazy. I don't really know what's gone wrong with Matthijs de Ligt, He was one of the best centre-backs in the world at Ajax, widely regarded as one of the best young up-and-coming centre-backs. And he moved to Juventus. It didn't really work. He's moved to Bayern Munich. It hasn't really worked, both of which for big transfer fees. My understanding is this, right? Matthijs de Ligt on his own, I think, would be a little bit disappointing because I don't think that's really improving our defence that much, being honest. I think Varane is better than Matthijs de Ligt. But my thought on it is, if we're getting two centre-backs, which apparently Fabrizio has come out saying that Manchester United are looking at two centre-backs and that we're going for Jarrad Branthwaite as well as Matthijs de Ligt. I mean, if that's the case, I've got no issues with it whatsoever because we desperately need two centre-backs. We all know that. One centre-back isn't going to be enough. Varane's gone. Lindelof's probably going to go. Johnny Evans might be going. So at the moment, we've only really got Martinez, who obviously had a terrible injury all last season and missed most of the season. Willy Campoala, who probably should be loaned out, realistically, not because he's not good enough, but because that would be the best thing for his development. And Harry Maguire, and that's it. That's not enough. We need 5 centre-backs. And, we should be allowed to move on people like Victor Lindelof. I mean, we should really be moving on Harry Maguire, to be honest. But whether or not we'll be able to do that, he's on big wages, 200k a week. That's the thing. Now, the one detail of the De Ligt deal that we really need to focus on is Manchester United are apparently willing to pay somewhere around £30 million, which is a very small fee when you consider what Bayern Munich paid for Matthijs de Ligt. They paid about £60 million for him, so they invested a lot of money in this player. So hopefully we can get a deal done here. I would like to see Matthijs de Ligt at Manchester United. I think he's a good player, but I think it only really works for me if we have 2 new centre-backs. So a Jarrad Branthwaite and a Matthijs de Ligt, or a Lenny Yoro and a Matthijs de Ligt. That would be an improvement. Whereas if we just get one, I think we may as well have just kept Varane, to be honest. But yeah, I think the one key thing to this deal is Manchester United are going to have to negotiate down his wages. He's on about 350k a week at Bayern Munich, which is ridiculous. Like, I don't know why they gave him that contract, but Manchester United are apparently not willing to pay those types of wages. So there is still quite a lot of work left to do in this deal, but it is one that I'm pretty confident will happen, to be completely honest with you. But I want you to let me know, would you like to see Matthijs de Ligt at Manchester United? Let me know in the comments section below. Yeah. But and then the final story I've got for you really quickly is about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Apparently, Galatasaray have just submitted a new bid of 15 million euros for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, we spoke about him last week, saying that they'd submitted a bid of 10 million euros. Manchester United rejected that. They're now asking 15 million euros, which I honestly think is a joke, to be honest. I think 15 million euros is nothing. That's what, 10 million pounds? Like, who could you buy to replace Wan-Bissaka for 15 million euros? No one. People will say Frimpong. Well, his release clause is about 35 million pounds. Like, it's a stupid deal. So hopefully Manchester United see their senses and either say no or say we want, 20, 30 million minimum. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today. This has been Daily Red Devil. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. As I said, we're only one subscriber away from 24,600. So make sure you subscribe. Live videos will be back from tomorrow morning, Monday. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.